We are on filmsgonewild.com. My name is John Wildman. We have with us Bruno Pavić. Did I say that correctly, Bruno?
Yes,
Did I
yes,
say
yes, it's correct. Bruno
okay,
Pavić,
Bruno
yes.
from Landscape Zero. The film is playing at SEEfest LA, the Southeast European Film Festival, Croatian documentary. So, Bruno, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
All right, let's start this off by having you introduce our audience to the film. They've not had a chance to see it as yet, so describe Landscape Zero to our audience.
Well, the Landscape Zero is hybrid documentary. That means it combines observational documentary style, also fiction, and artistic performances. And we have layers there, and but everything is adapted to observational documentary style. So actually, we have 4 characters during the film. We are watching them as surviving in these industrial facilities, factories, and those characters are actually actors. They're put in real life of real people, and we follow them in a parallel way, and but actually they are not. They seem they are like real people. Yes. So so actually it's a film about environmental disasters in the city of Split. It's a touristic place, but everything is hidden behind tourism. Actually, people don't think about that catastrophe. So I had empathy according to these people who are living near factories very close to the center of the city, and it was my motivation to make this film. Yes.
In this country we have a thing as called environmental racism, where we have communities that, much like in Landscape Zero, are right next to rendering plants. They're right next to facilities that are processing toxic materials, and yet people are living right nearby it. And it's fascinating to watch illustrate that in Landscape Zero by having artists, having people in the foreground, and yet always omnipresent in the background. Are the smokestacks, are this industrial complex, and so it's never out of our mind what could be what could be in the air because of what we're seeing behind them. What could be in the water, what could be, what have you. And I found it. It is a documentary hybrid, because it's not what we think of as a straight documentary. In fact, it reminded me quite a bit of films that we would have when I was at Lincoln Center in New York, of a series called Art of the Real, which was like an experimental film series that juxtaposed that documentary style of filmmaking with film art. So I've got to ask you bluntly, Bruno, why'd you do this? why did you choose to make this film in this way?
Well, simply, it's a very complex story. We have many disasters. We have asbestosis. We have uranium. We have all the things in the water. We have this landfill just 2 kilometers from the center, touristic center of the city. Monumental category, and we have so many disasters. But everybody expects to make investigation, to make to have journalists and make this kind of film, classical documentary. But I personally, I always when I make films, I always have an approach that I want to make something different. I personally, I always think in images. Tell more with images, less with narration, less with words. This is my kind of thinking. So it was very difficult to make this film. I wanted to make it just visual, to tell this story. But everything should be clear. Where are we? What is the problem with asbestos, landfill? We have to show everything, and it was very, like to say, for me, for me, it was something I was very motivated to make it. It was very risky, but this is my answer to yes, try to make this visually. And I think in the end, we can't explain everything. I can't. I couldn't give you informations. How many? I don't know. Asbestos do we have? What's concrete? What specifically in the sea? What's in the air? You know, I just wanted to observe all this. But it's not just about environmental catastrophe. You know, personally, I'm not activist. My motivation was not to make activistic film. I'm very, for me, interested in this mentality of people who live here. They have nostalgia. In communism, they have had a job, but also they had illness, and this illness was denied by government. I don't know, politicians even today, like everything, like illness do not exist, but only money is important. So today people live here. You can see tourists there around factories, and people make tourism around factories. Yes. They don't care about these facts, about deaths, about illness, about so everything goes. It's like a circle, magical circle, and you can get out of it. And I just wanted to visually observe this situation. That's all.
Right. Well, I mean, and you know, and listen, I mean, I live in Dallas, Texas, in the United States, and that absolutely resonates with me because our politicians, it is all about money, and you know, and they will. You know, again, like I said, they will pollute. They will put communities, the people that they represent, in danger. You know, through these facilities that that they will allow to be zoned right next to them. So yeah, you're absolutely correct. But now let's talk about your filmmaking process. And one of the things that I would love for you to talk about, because this is not, you're right, this is not an investigative piece. So you're not going and doing interviews, and you're not trying to prove a point factually, with evidence and all that sort of thing. You are making a visual, almost a tone poem, right? So talk about a moment of improvisation that you had as a filmmaker, either on the set or even the day before, where you had an idea and said, I just came up with this idea to do this. Let's shoot this right now, or let's shoot it in this way. Can you have an example you can give me of a moment of improvisation?
Yes, of course. Well, I started with classical investigation. I made investigation about the situation, statistics, how many illness, how many deaths, what's going on there. I live in the city of Split, but just a couple of years. I don't know. It's not my city. I was not familiar personally with problems. So I made an investigation. It was classical investigation. I talked with doctors, with engineers who worked in factories, with I don't know, medical people for medicine. I don't know, activists, also activists. And then it was start. Then how to make this film? It was very difficult. I knew that I don't want to make classical film with interviews, narrations, but I started to searching for characters, very strong characters who live around specific factories. I choose most like landfill. I choose the asbestos factory, this factory with plastics, I don't know, uranium, and also it was this guy who is dying, who is fighting. He fights against the mafia, who wants to I don't know, who make a business with how to say trash and I started to interview them. First, I shooted interviews to get them to. I want to make close contact with them to find out what I don't know their lives, how do they look like, and after that I had to become friends with them, those characters, and after that next step was, do they want to be involved in film? But I told them that they have to do some actions, not just talk. I want to see them in this environment. How do they live everyday life? What do their actions? They're all are not just victims. They are activists also, but their activism is they're activists because they want to survive. They're not political activists. Just so this is very strong moment, strong motive, and they allowed me to. They gave me their houses, their personal stories, their photographs, their everything, but they didn't want to be in the film because it was too, for them, it was too, I don't know how to say, they didn't want. I had the idea to find actors who will act them. I made audition in local theaters for actors and tried to find some profiles similar to characters, real characters. So this, it was, then I wrote the script. I wrote the script. I have 4 characters. It was classical narrative, linear dramaturgy. You know, the beginning, middle, the end. Every character has beginning, middle, the end, and there I had to balance them through the script. I show the beginning of one character, then I follow another character, then I return back to first character, and it was classical script. It was development, and between their stories to connect all locations, because we have 4 factories, 4 characters, 4 factories, various locations around the city. I had to connect somehow those locations to be clear. And then I filled those empty spaces with observational shots, scenes. We say people are swimming. How do life look like as it is in this area? And also some element artistic performances. I made open call for performers, and I choose 5 performers. I gave them freedom to make what do they want in which location they want. And after that, it was experiment in editing process. In editing process, I had to choose moments that can fit in those empty spaces between characters, between observational. So editing process was, okay, I followed a narration of characters. It was the base, but I had to experiment with performances and with observational material. I had to make this atmosphere, this and also connection between locations. So that was the process. Yes.
It definitely connects us, you know, in a different way, you know, to this topic, to this subject, you know, because you know, obviously we're wired now, you know, to respond to the sight of, you know, of the smokestacks and the asbestos facility and all of that, and you know, and again, you know, placing that in various contexts and various means with different people and different things, it really does the trick. Congratulations on the film. It's really an artful piece, Bruno. Again, the film is Landscape Zero. We've been talking with the director, Bruno Pavić. The Croatian documentary is making its North American premiere at SEEfest LA, the Southeast European Film Festival. And Bruno, it's been great talking movies with you.
Thank you very much.